Hello, my friends. I want to do something I haven't done actually in quite a while, and it's show you exactly what I see and why everything that I speak of is of a different perspective than just about everybody else out there who you listen to. And now I've come to notice that there's a lot more people beginning to see this, and that greatly encourages me. But until you see something, sometimes you can't understand certain things, because we've all been taught certain ways and certain things growing up, our traditions and everything else. And we've been fallen for such a long time as a people, as a country, as those who are of the house of God. We've been fallen into apostasy for so long that whenever the truth presents itself, we reject it. And I was the same way in the beginning. Whenever I had first been born again, I was following these same doctrines that I was listening to also, and I wasn't understanding what I was doing. So I've been there. I believe the Lord led me to be there. Obviously, I can't speak for him. I can't say that was for sure, but I know, because I myself was trapped in it, I know exactly what it looks like when I see it. So if you see on my phone here, this Andra Day sings the Black National Anthem at the Super Bowl. So everybody was looking at this Super Bowl for a lot of different reasons. And you have all the people out there who take Satan's hidden secrets and believe it's something of God. That's why you get all these numerology people and everybody talking about the signs that's going on. It's amazing how these people can see all these Illuminati and dark, hidden, secret, occult signs of things. It's amazing how they can see all of those. But whenever you start talking to them about God, they give you the same doctrine that the apostate church does. This is that Satan's so-called secrets that's written in the scriptures. It puts people down a rabbit hole of things that are completely and utterly useless, because yes, Satan does put all these things out on the world. They're right there. The occult is right there for you to see. But if that's your focus, if that's everything you're looking at, it's like stumbling through the dark trying to find a light switch. You're not going to find it unless you know where that light switch is. Imagine going inside of a room that is, 3 stories high and 300 feet long, and it's dark, pitch black in there, and you walk in that room and your main object is to find a light switch to turn the lights on so you can see. You're not ever going to find that light switch. You're just going to be stumbling around in the dark the entire time that you're in there, unless somebody pulls you out of it. And that's what these people do that go down these rabbit holes of the occult. They're trying to find the light through the darkness, and you can't. You have to look at Jesus Christ and him crucified. That is the light. If you make that your foundation, you will see all of these so-called Satan's hidden secrets. But all it'll mean to you is nothing, because none of that is the truth and none of that is the reality. This is Satan putting a stumble block in front of people so that they chase them around like somebody chasing around the magic dragon. They talk about one of those drugs, I forget which one it is, puffing the magic dragon or something. You'll never get back to that first high that you got. That's the same kind of concept. Once these people get trapped in these holes, they never come out of them, and they never find the light in the process. So you have all that goes on out there. But my main topic of this is to speak about the division and how the apostate church, the ones that call, Jews God's chosen holy people, and they look at Israel, they completely neglect everything that's happening in their own country and focus on Israel as that's the only thing that matters to God, because that's the chosen land and that's the chosen people. You know this doctrine. I've spoken about it time and time again. So they look at everything happening, and one of the big things that they say is, if we divide the land of Israel, then God's going to divide us. He's going to pour his judgment out over us. Now look at this Black National Anthem that they played at the Super Bowl, and they've been doing this now for years. This is just so you can see in this primetime event now, the biggest event in America, essentially, when it comes to entertainment, the Super Bowl, they play a Black National Anthem during this. They, of course, do play the, red, white, and blue, stars and stripes. They play the actual American national anthem, but then they segregate it and they play a black national anthem with it. You want to talk about division? How's that for your division? Have we divided Israel? No, Israel's still been a nation since 1948. There's no division in the land. It's not happened. But this has happened within America and within the cultures. We have been divided again, black and white, Spanish and native, whatever you want to do, whatever your skin color is, whatever your sexual orientation is, whatever your political ideology is, you have been divided against everybody. And in the churches that I speak of, all in the same manner, they've been divided against each other. Protestants hate Catholics. They used to get along and basically, when it came to things within culture and society, a Catholic and a Protestant was always on the same page. They didn't agree about the things of God, but they agreed about everything else, so they stood. Now, even Protestants among themselves hate each other because it's a pack of wolves. It's turned into the Pharisee, exactly as the Pharisee are today's Protestants. They all attack each other about their doctrines and their gospels, and this person's wrong, that person's wrong, that person's right, because we've been divided. Our judgment has already come. It's already here. And people are looking for a future event because they don't understand that everything happens in this world as a mustard seed. It starts as the smallest of all things, a little bit of yeast getting into the batch, but before you know it and the loaf of bread is baked, the whole batch is contaminated. We're in that end latter stage of the contamination. We're already divided. All we're doing is waiting for the catalyst that brings about the division where people begin to kill each other and harm each other, past the point of what we see right now, where all peace is taken away because you don't know whether your neighbor's going to attack you or not. We're already in them latter day stages of this, which means that the division came a long time ago. The judgment has been coming for a long time within the country. It doesn't just spring up overnight. So you have this black national anthem played at the Super Bowl alongside the Star Spangled Banner. And why would they do that? It's to draw the division out of you. Why have they made, for instance, within the government? You know why nothing gets done within the federal government? They'll tell you right on national TV. It was Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. Everything is a pointed finger at somebody, and nobody's addressing the problem. So I don't care whether it was Trump's fault, or whether it was Biden's fault, or whether it was a Democrat who came up with it, or a Republican who came up with it. You still have to deal with it. So who's dealing with it? Nobody's dealing with any of it because we're in the latter stages of judgment already. What this can show you, what this proves to you, is that it has nothing to do with anything happening over there in the Middle East, at that land that politically is called Israel today. It's still the same. It's not been divided. America didn't divide it. In fact, they've only grown the land since 1948. Hasn't been divided. There's no policy that's divided it. But has America stayed standing? No, we're divided. And that shows you that it ain't got nothing to do with Israel and their two-state solutions or anything to do with any of that. Those will all happen as some kind of a sign before the desolation comes. Because again, I'll go down to Satan's signs and wonders. You know that Jesus warns you that this is what it would look like. That Satan would appear as an angel of light. He would masquerade as what is holy. And he's been doing that, using Israel, using those who call themselves Jews. They're wearing righteousness, wearing robes of holiness. They're doing what formerly was of God today as if it still is of God, as if Christ never came 2,000 years ago, as if he meant nothing. And here's what I do whenever I get on YouTube today and I see all these different kind of so-called watchmen and prophets. You know what they're all talking about? Oh, the white rainbow that happened in Israel. That's a sign of the Messiah coming. Do you understand what they're saying by that? They're talking about the Jews and the sign of their Messiah to come. Wouldn't you think about this? Hey, what does this actually mean if I'm a Christian? Let me think about this. So the Jews rejected Jesus as the Messiah. That means they wanted nothing to do with Jesus. I think Jesus was the Messiah. But now they're waiting on their Messiah and they're receiving his signs and his great wonders. Who is that if you're a Christian? Is that Jesus? Is that God? Does that mean God's coming back because they see a white rainbow? Well, that's not who they think is coming back. They think their Messiah is coming back because of that sign, and you see Christians following and lusting after it. Because their Messiah is Satan, is the devil. Just as Jesus declared, just as it's declared for you in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, it's declared right out in the open for you, but because of everything we've been brainwashed with, we don't even think rationally. That, if the Jews living in Israel are seeing a white rainbow and believe that to be a sign of their Messiah, and they rejected Jesus, well, wait a minute, I don't reject Jesus. My Messiah has already come 2,000 years ago. Who's this Messiah that they're talking about then? And that's what happens when people fall away from sound doctrine. They lose their minds. They can't even think rationally that the Messiah that they're saying that this white rainbow is a sign of is the Antichrist. It's the Christian Antichrist that they're ushering in. These are those signs of the end that Jesus warned you of, that warned us all of, that would happen. For marvelous great signs and wonders would appear to deceive even the elect if it were so. That's what this is. And they received their white rainbow sign of the Messiah that they're expecting. Do you know what that means? That means their Messiah is coming. Satan is coming into the world. And the Christians, what are they doing? They're upholding Satan as though that's God. That's Jesus that they're expecting. When they already had him and rejected him. They're not expecting Jesus. They rejected Jesus. And you as a Christian did not reject Jesus. But you have these people calling themselves Christians who are lusting after all of their signs and wonders, believing it to be God because they reject Jesus the very same way that the Jews did 2,000 years ago. His first coming, he was not the Messiah. He did nothing. He was unimportant. As call upon the Lord and be saved if you're not a Jew, but if you have the physical blood of Abraham in you, you don't need to do nothing. You're already saved. God saves by nepotism. Even though everything Jesus did was opposite of this. So they're literally lauding and applauding the raising of the Antichrist, the whole time calling them holy, as though Christians should lust after those signs and wonders as well. That's what happens in the latter stages of apostasy. Before the destruction comes, that's exactly what's happened all throughout the scriptures. The people of God go so far away from God that they believe Satan is their God. Before God has to destroy everything to bring sense back into the people, the remnant that haven't fallen away, and so he can rebuild again. What do you think the rapture is? It's the destruction of the people in the world, and it's the tearing away of the body of Christ, that which causes it to stumble, a forcefully taking away, a rescue of the remnant, as those who are raptured stand condemned already because they don't believe that Jesus is Lord, or they would not look at those who reject Jesus, go after their signs and wonders and call it God. They're literally ushering in the Antichrist and deceiving the flock into believing that Antichrist is Jesus. So, in short, I guess in summary, you see things like the black and the white race relations. You see things like all the race relations, all the LGBT stuff, all the political things, everything. We're completely divided as a country. We've grown to hate each other, the world, the nation has. Well, Israel has remained not only intact, but has grown. Since 1948, their land has grown. So, what they want you to believe is that when this Jewish Messiah comes, that's God. That's what they're all falling into, and that's what they want all the sheep to believe. Because they already stand condemned themselves, those Christians who say things such as this. Because they don't believe in Jesus either. They didn't believe that he rose 2,000 years ago from the grave. Because they're the Pharisee. I used to call them Pharisee in comparison, but now that I've learned more of it, I don't even call it in comparison. They are literally the Pharisee. If you do some research, and it's very interesting, on the Pharisee, the Essenes, and the Sadducees, you will literally be able to see within the church, the one that calls itself a church, Every single one of those groups represented in the church, not like they were 2,000 years ago, but doing exactly the same thing as they were doing 2,000 years ago. There's no difference at all. The church has reverted in its state of apostasy back into the law. And from the law, you have Protestants, people who protest the law, which makes them lawless even within the law. We've reverted back in our apostasy. We've gone from eating solid food back to drinking milk. In this world, these people that call themselves Christians are raising up a body, a people, who will call Antichrist Lord, the whole time believing that's actually God. All of this has already been set in motion. And we're in the latter stages of it. And when it hits this point, there's no other way. You're not going to have some big, revival that comes. When the writing on the wall has come, it's come. And you can look at our days and see the writing on the wall. There's no coming back from the division that's already been within the Western cultures. The only way back from that is to destruct and to, again, try to do again. But in these latter days, you don't even have that. We've got weapons that can destroy the world over and over again multiple times, just in a nuclear arsenal, let alone all the other stuff that they have, stuff that you don't even know of. And they yearn to use it. If it wasn't for God withholding those winds, it would have already happened. But because God is merciful and patient and long-suffering, He's holding these winds back until the time has come. Just like they couldn't grab onto Jesus until His time's come, the angels are holding back the winds of destruction over the hearts of men until it's ready. And when that day comes, but a remnant will go with the Lord, because everybody else has fallen off into apostasy. Everybody else has fallen into the hands of Satan. The whole time they tell each other they believe and follow God. Division has already come. It's not going to resurrect and become better. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who they were to put in. The people in power already do not want to fix anything. They want it to be tore down. And everybody that is a human being essentially on the earth is suffering in some form or another. Sets up the days of Noah. And everybody has gone so far into apostasy and morality has been lost. It's like the days of Lot. And we see it all happen right in front of our very eyes. The whole time these people are spewing doctrines to you about Israel and about how if we divide the land, God's going to punish us. It's only because they don't see 2020. They only see hindsight when it comes to anything prophetic or to actually understand the scriptures and which way they're pointing. For if they understood that what they already see within their own land means it's divided because it starts as a seed, they would never say such things because it would dawn on them, well, we're divided and Israel didn't divide its land. What happened? This whole prophecy that I'm giving you doesn't make any sense on its face. But God puts a strong delusion over them so that they see not the truth. They believe not the truth even when it's presented to them. And that's why I say, follow not these ones as they're going to lead you into the pits with them. That's all they want to do is lead into destruction many. Because Satan, their God that they follow, has come only to kill, steal, and destroy. Division has already come. We're in the latter stages of the apostasy. The end can come at any time. And the one thing that all these ones who have been trained by Satan, all that they want to do is get you to believe that everything that happens in that land that we call political Israel today is of God. So that when the Antichrist raises up to his position on the throne, you're running towards him believing that it actually is. God bless.